Your retirement accounts and 401ks are at the highest level they've ever been. And then I have to listen to the fake news talking about affordability. Affordability. Do you notice, what word have you not heard over the last 2 weeks? Affordability. Because I've won. I've won affordability.
Or because they've been talking about Epstein. That was President Trump in Georgia back on his affordability tour. He says he's winning. The stock market's up. If you look at the investor economy, where it is to borrow money right now relative to 2 years ago, stocks, you're seeing a pretty rosy picture, okay? But he says 401ks are all-time high. Well, but less than half of us have those. And even those who do have them, they don't have that much money in them. Why is that? Because we don't have spare cash, and people are eating into savings like they haven't in a generation because of prices. And I'm not saying that President Trump is responsible for the price structure right now, although the tariffs did put pressure on them. I'm just saying things are getting worse, not getting better. It's not about blame. It's about who's going to do what, okay? You can cherry pick. Egg prices are down. Why? Because the reason they were up in the first place was a ridiculous widespread avian flu that they had. That has abated, so it's gone back into line with supply and demand. But a lot of other items that weren't affected by, its own kind of pandemic have gone up, right? Chicken, meat, OJ, bacon, sandwich bread. And if you look at 2025, there's several categories that far outpace the growth of real wages. Okay, so are real wages up? Yes, they are. Are they up more than inflation? Yeah, but when you adjust for inflation, people are barely ahead of the prices, meaning what? They can't save. That's why the president said maybe you should buy less. Okay? All right, let's discuss it. Katie Pavlich is here, my new NewsNation sister,
Chris.
Doing very well. I've been watching the show. I've been watching the numbers. Good for you. Great growth. Great start.
Happy Friday. Thanks for having me.
Happy Friday. Of course. You're always welcome. Always welcome. So I was surprised that the president would pick this fight. I'm all in favor of the affordability tour. I think the more he's out on the hustings talking about the economy, the better it is for the country. But do you give me the plus side on his analysis that he has won affordability?
Well, I would disagree that the president has picked this fight. For a year, Democrats have been claiming that he has an affordability crisis when it was Democrats alone that passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which is really the Inflation Induction Act, which caused all of this inflation at an average of 5% inflation under the Biden administration. But during the presidential campaign, one of the mistakes that President Trump and his team made is that they said that they would bring prices down. And the sin of inflation that is inflicted by the government onto the American people is that inflation means that prices rarely go down. They can in certain circumstances, but once they are high, they stay high. You can bring the inflation rate down, which is exactly what the president has done. In January, it was at 2.4%. Under Biden, it was an average of 5%. So you asked the question in your intro about, okay, let's not place blame here. Let's talk about who's going to do something about it right now. The idea that Democrats can be trusted with inflation is a total joke. A, they caused the current inflation, and B, we just saw in Virginia, when Virginia Democrats took over the legislature and the governorship, they proposed 50 new taxes, including on dog walking, dog grooming, vehicle repairs, home repairs, dry cleaning, gym memberships, storage, electric leaf blowers, the list goes on. And then in New York, we have Mamdani, who also campaigned on affordability. You have average homeowners, middle class to lower class, coming out in the streets and saying, don't raise my taxes, as Mamdani threatens to raid the rainy day fund and raise taxes on everyone who owns private property, not just the rich, as he promised. So the question is, who can be trusted here? And the data shows that Trump and Republicans are interested in lowering the inflation rate, not taxing you. They just passed that big tax cut that's going into effect here in a couple of weeks and over the summer. And Democrats are proposing even more taxes on people who want to just walk their dog and pay someone to do it without getting taxed on it.
Well, as Virginia goes, not so goes the country necessarily. Mamdani isn't a Democrat; he's a socialist, so it's a little different.
Well,
but yeah, you're right. Those are problematic things. But staying on the federal level, We both know the, what could we call it? The chestnut, that a lot of the jobs that have been created in this economy, more of them have come in Democratic administrations than in Republican ones. But why is that? Because government has expanded more, public sector has expanded more under Democratic administrations than Republican ones. So it's always about the rationale. We both know why things got so sideways. It was the pandemic. Trump spent a lot. Biden spent a lot during the pandemic. And you have some residual problems. What I want to know is, the economy has always been Trump's thing. Right now, he's underwater in the economy and people's perception. Perceptions go up and down. Why not focus from now until the midterms on doing something, not to lower prices necessarily, because you're right, that's hard to do. Easy to campaign on, hard to deliver. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.